peu, hein, le temps que ça démarre. Coucou YouTube, j'espère que vous allez bien. Aujourd'hui, on commence Horace. Un jeu avec une histoire. Un jeu avec une musique un peu tristouille au démarrage. Mais après, c'est un bon jeu de plateforme. Il paraît, hein. On n'est jamais sûr, hein, mais... Donc j'y ai jamais joué, là il a continué, c'est parce que j'ai testé évidemment si tout fonctionnait bien. Mais bah oui, bah voilà. En fait, vous voyez, c'est marqué continuer, mais il y a que des fichiers feed. Que des fichiers feed. Donc, évidemment, ça ne marche pas. Allez hop. De l'histoire. Je sais plus s'il y a des doublages. C'était un peu trop zoomé là. C'est un peu trop zoomé, on voit pas... Arrêtez, on voit pas grand chose. Bah oui, des points de soudure. C'est de la soudure électrique ça. le petit bruit de modem pour... évidemment. He's alive! Alive! Bah... Le man 2.0. 2.0. Ding dong. Ouais, c'est sa pause clope. Du coup, il veut même pas ouvrir la porte, alors qu'il est à côté. Salaud. Mais il est tout nu. Une grosse empathie. une grosse empathie. Il fait la vaisselle sans qu'on lui demande. Ah, il fait son job, quoi. Hop. Moi, je vais à la gauche. Oh, regardez, il est un peu tristouille. Enfin, pas tristouille, mais il est un peu timidouille. Regardez, je peux regarder en haut. Je peux regarder mon empathie, évidemment. non, mais je les aime pas, les gens. J'aime pas les gens, moi, je veux me barrer. Il est souple, hein. Non, arrêtons. Arrêtez tout de suite. Ça commence mal, là. Regardez, une famille.
And so, I was born. The first people I remember seeing were the old man, the old lady, and their daughter, Heather. After they'd said hello, the old man powered me down so he could install some software. I could tell they were nice people. The old man didn't give me a silly voice or stupid personality. And the old lady didn't dress me like a clown. Although for some reason, Heather really didn't like me. Once I'd had time to get used to walking, the old man asked me to dash from one end of the room to the other.
Oui. Oh là là. Ah ouais, d'accord, il saute bien, hein.
Next, the old man spent a couple of hours building some wooden platforms. He said he wanted me to jump up them, but I must admit, I was scared. It wasn't until I saw Heather and her mother happily climbing up them that I decided it might be okay.
J'aime beaucoup le propriétaire du robot qui dit on va quand même construire des plateformes histoire de tester. Moi je m'en vais. Je peux me barrer? Merde. Ah oui, bah effectivement. Ah, il s'est cassé le cul, hein. Juste pour que Horace teste. Un vieux mec blanc avec des femmes racisées. Ça pue le truc malsain, mais pas du tout. Merde, y a pas de wall jump. C'est quoi ce jeu où y a pas de wall jump là?
The old man then rearranged the platforms. He told me to try to reach the other end of the room without touching the floor. Heather said, the floor's made of lava. But when I
The floor is lava.
She just frowned and looked away. The old lady arranged some pillows and blankets. She said it was in case I fell, but I think she just wanted it to look more like lava.
Ah, j'ai pas le temps. J'ai pas le temps.
When I reached the other side, the old man just smiled and said, that'll do, for now.
Trop bien. Chapitre 1. Apprendre à marcher. Waouh, il y a des pixels qui tombent par la fenêtre. Regardez ça. Incroyable. Une tombée de pixels.
A couple of days after those first lessons, the family had a big meal, and I was introduced to everyone else. The professor was the old man's brother. He was very quiet, and always seemed to just kind of stare at me. He had lived with the old man for 5 years. The house was so huge they barely saw each other. He preferred instead to stay in his room, leaving everything up to his butler, Mr. Deck, as he insisted everyone call him, although the professor always called him Anton. For a while, he called me the yellow bastard, but the old man made him stop, as he thought it sounded racist. Mr. Silton was the old man's driver. Before he worked here, he'd gotten in with some bad people and was the driver in a post office robbery, although it all went wrong for some reason. Mr. Silton showed me a video of his band. I'm sure some people must like it, but I just found it terrifying. Then there was Alice.
C'est quoi cette télé qui a pas de HDMI là?
She was a nice old lady. When she was younger, she had been a TV chef. Then, years later, she had a small part in Coronation Street. Mr. Silton said, before she worked for the old man, Alice was quite a hoarder. She kept old newspapers and bicycles. And something about a poo in a shoebox. The next
Syndrome de
morning,
Diogène.
the old man gathered everyone together to show them what I was capable of. What else does he do? Asked Mr. Silton. The old man smiled. He can help around the house. Could he help me with my newspaper collecting? Asked Alice. I'm not sure that's a good idea, said the old lady, but he can do all sorts of jobs. Yeah, said Mr. Silton, shove a stick up his ass and he can do Deck's job. Now, said the old man, we have company, pointing to some important-looking people. 2 large men, both called Gary, set up what the old man referred to as lasers. He said again, I should try to get from one end of the room to the other, but I shouldn't be worried, as I had a special chip which meant no matter how damaged I was, I couldn't die. He said it was like infinite lives in a video game. But when he realized I didn't understand, he said he would explain another time.
Ok. Attendez, je peux me prendre les lasers dans la tronche? Je pense que je peux me prendre les lasers dans la tronche, mais est-ce que j'ai envie de le faire, quoi? Ah! Oh non! Ok, on recommence. Je peux me faire toucher, mais on recommence le tableau, quoi. Oui, j'ai réussi.
Everybody clapped, except the important little man. Not exactly a cold, calculated killer, is it? Said the man in black. The man in grey laughed. What kind of artificial intelligence was that? He asked. Move right, unless there's something in the way. Okay, okay, said the old man. He turned to me and whispered, they're going to make it quite a bit tougher. But I'm sure you'll be fine.
Oh, merde, le con. Oh, merde. Oh, oh l'erreur, l'erreur. Mon speedrun. Mon speedrun est foutu. Mon speedrun de Horace. Quel dommage. Oh non, je peux... Oh putain, je peux me faire toucher par an. Vas-y, Horace. Ça va là? Cours, Horace, cours!
Garry's then rearranged the room one last time. The old man smiled. Now, there's no need to look so glum, he said. I'm still happy with everything you've done today. So this time, I was determined to do him proud.
Oh, il sourit! Oh, les bats! Ils avaient prévu que j'allais être bon. Ok, c'est juste pour me montrer qu'il y a des... il y a un nuancier de saut.
The old man's friends actually seemed quite happy when I made it through. We might have a winner after all, said the man in black. It's no Killbot 3000, but you can almost see the fire in its eyes.
Quoi reprendre? Quoi? Hein?
A couple of days later, the old lady said she had a surprise for me. My own room. She also wanted to play me some music. I wasn't sure after what Mr. Silton had shown me.
Ça lui fait plaisir a priori.
As if music wasn't amazing enough, the old lady then bought me a television set. I couldn't believe what I saw. I watched everything I could. Comedy, drama, horror, sci-fi. Anything anyone wanted to watch I would happily watch with them. Then one day, the old man set up a small box. He plugged some cables into the television and said, "This is what I meant when I said video games."
Oh, Horace, il va jouer à des jeux vidéo. C'est trop méta.
I took on everyone. I was unstoppable.
Regardez, il y a les consoles qui changent.
I had enjoyed music, film, and television. But to me, video games really were the highest art form.
C'est une PS2 ça. Ah, il reconnaît. Il joue à Pong sur une PS2. Un peu bizarre, non? C'est pas Pong, hein. Oh, je l'ai eu. Regardez, Horace, il est trop fort. Il est trop fort au jeu de la vidéo, là. Ah, dis donc, c'est qu'il se donne, le vieux, là. Merde. Alors j'étais un chouïa trop lent. Tiens. Tiens, petit vieux. Prends ça. Elle est floue, la télé. Et Horace, il a des problèmes de vue. The television is flou. Oh! I did win.
Heather's birthday was a couple of months later. Her mum and dad had bought her a camera and arranged a day out by the sea so that Heather could take some photos, although I really don't think she wanted any pictures of me. When the old man asked the professor if he wanted to go, he frowned and said, "I can't believe you want to spend time with that thing, it could destroy the world." I wasn't sure what he meant, but the old man just smiled and said, "That's what you said about the Game Boy." How about you? "I don't think so," said Mr. Deck. "The last time I got in that car, Barry crashed us into a branch of Woolworths. I never would have gone into Woolworths of my own accord." The old man explained that the car was old and the brakes had failed, but Mr. Deck was having none of it. So Mr. Silton drove, and Alice came along for the fresh air.
Belle voiture.
I enjoyed being outside. Although, the old lady kept telling me to be careful of the rickety old walkways. It felt like she was telling me off, but I think she was just concerned.
Ils vont pas buter le vieux tout de suite quand même.
As the old man and I stood on the cliff tops, I could see something in the distance. I wasn't sure what it was, so I asked the old man. He said it was a battleship that had sunk in the 1940s. But he looked so sad when he spoke about war.
Ça parle beaucoup pour un jeu de plateforme.
I didn't see
Le
what
début.
happened, but the metal platform Heather was climbing on had collapsed. She was safe, even if the rocks she was on looked very dangerous. The tide was rising, and we didn't know how long the Coast Guard was going to be, so I offered to climb down and get her. The old man agreed, but said I should be careful, as Heather doesn't have infinite lives, like I do.
Bah voilà. Là j'ai pas le temps. Hop là. Let's go.
Heather was unconscious, and her leg was broken, so I picked her up as gently as I could. I decided it would be best if I didn't run the rest of the way.
Oh bah non. Oh non, moi j'aime bien courir moi. Je fasse gaffe au timing quand même. Hein. Oh là là, regardez ça.
An ambulance had arrived.
First try GG quoi.
Back to the cliff top. The medics made sure Heather was okay, and then took her off to hospital.
Vous voyez, il y a eu de la plateforme.
A few days later, we all went to see how she was doing. She was fine, but would have to wear the cast for a couple of months.
Oh, il sourit à Horace. E-robot. C'est trop des besties maintenant quoi.
Once Heather got to know me, we became good friends. We enjoyed the same films and TV. She was also annoyingly good at some of my favorite games. After a while, she became very interested in how I worked. Soon she knew as much about me as the old man did, if not more. We spent the next couple of months visiting other countries, as when it came to teaching me things, the old man always liked to pick interesting locations. He had explained the basics of mathematics to me at the Great Pyramid of Egypt.
Ok.
Taught me history in the dead of night, surrounded by mysterious giant stones. And even showed me science in action high up in a hot air balloon. This is why I was surprised when the old man took me to a restaurant. It was nice, but it seemed very somber compared to the previous grand locations. He said he
Évidemment, au
just wanted
42,
to
hein.
chat, and this was nice and quiet. Plus it was his favorite place to eat. We talked about life, the universe, Douglas
Merde.
When I asked
Allez,
him
ref.
why were we here, why did we exist, he just smiled and said, life is like a game, just don't expect to be finished anytime soon. When I looked puzzled, he said, well, everyone should have a purpose. So I asked him, what's my purpose? He thought for a bit, then said, so you want to be a real boy?
Encore
Which
une
just
ref.
confused me even more. Eventually the old man said, for now, I want you to help clean things around the house. I must have looked unimpressed, as he then said, okay, I want you to clean 1,000,000 things. It didn't sound like the meaning of life, but I suppose you've got to start somewhere.
Quoi? Quoi? Il y a 1 million d'objets à collecter dans le jeu? Un homme ne peut pas tout avoir. Où est-ce qu'il mettrait... Où est-ce qu'il mettrait tout ça?
The next day,
Très
the
sage,
old
hein.
man said he wanted to install some more software, so he powered me down. When I came to, he said Mr. Silton had a joke for me, and that I should pull his finger. I don't think I got the joke. So the old man powered me down again. This time when I
Merde.
pulled Mr. Silton's finger, I got the joke. But it wasn't very funny. The old man then explained that he had installed a special chip which allowed me to clean away anything that was broken. He said it also tells me how many things are nearby, and how many smaller things are in a bigger thing. It all sounded very complicated, but he said all I really had to do was pause, and it would bring up all the information I needed. He
Oh,
then said he
oh la
wanted me
la
to
la
find
la.
and clean all of the items in the room. He
Oh,
told
c'est
me
tellement
there
méta
would be
le jeu,
some
quoi.
chains to climb, but that would be nice and easy, as I just had to press up. He then finished by saying, when I had collected all the items, I should come back here.
Oh, c'est tellement... Oh, oh, c'est trop méta, quoi. Il y a des... Ah, voilà, on peut faire pause. Et donc, il y a 135 objets ici. Question de Lazare. 100? Comment ça, 100? On va voir, mais t'as fait There is no game? Oui, j'ai fait There is no game. C'est même disponible sur youtube.com/TonyBFR. Ah merde. Niveau méta, oui, c'est clair que There is no game, moi, c'est très très méta aussi. On peut faire des combos d'objets. Oh là là, mais... Oui. Ah, bah oui. Là. Mais pourquoi il y a des trucs que j'ai loupés? Les objets sont ramassés.
The old man then asked the old lady Heather and I to follow him outside. I was happy to...
Mais pourquoi ça fait ça des fois? Il y a 104e mur qui explose à peu près au bout de... Attends. Oui, en plus, oui, déjà, oui, rien que dans le menu. Rien que dans le menu, dans There is no game, c'est quand même assez ouf.
It was a lovely hot day. The old man said he was worried that Alice had been hoarding again. She had filled up a small barn with old bicycles and newspapers.
C'est quand je regarde plus l'écran, tu crois?
Heather said this would be a perfect chance to
Ah, attendez.
test mine.
Ah, c'est quand j'appuie un peu sur la gâchette.
The old
D'accord,
man
ok.
thought for a second, then said, using the steptoe chip, I should find and clean at least 300 things. When we explained to Alice what we wanted to do, she seemed scared. The old lady kindly explained that, well, the barn was starting to smell. She said it would be okay. One last thing, said the old man. If you want to use a door, just push up. When I was about to enter the old barn, Mr. Silton said he had seen some mushrooms growing inside. He asked me to give him any that I found.
Oh, mais merde, c'est un gros dégueulasse, lui.
I wasn't sure why.
Ah! D'accord. D'accord. Ok, l'eau est électrifiée, hein, partout. Ah ouais, non, elle collectionne les bicyclettes, quoi. Bicyclette. Bicyclette. Quoi? Ah non, faut au-dessus, ok. Non! Ouais, faut que j'apprenne à sauter, quoi. C'est qui, là? Connard. Ah! Quoi? Ah, c'est chiant, en fait. C'est tout? Non, il y a des portes que j'ai pas ouvertes. Les champis. est bon en fait.
The old man was very happy with everything that I had cleaned.
Ah merde, j'ai appuyé. Arrête.
But I think Mr. Silton was even more happy with his mushrooms.
Un rouge et blanc comme ça, moi je les mange pas les champignons.
It wasn't the days getting shorter, or the evenings getting colder. It was the falling leaves that really made me feel sad. As we watched the trees blowing in the breeze, the old lady said, "The leaves must fall before the blossom comes." She had already explained the seasons to me, so for once, I actually understood. But it didn't make me feel any better. The old lady obviously had enough of my moping, and said, "Right, next week we're going to have a party." For some reason she insisted that we were all going to wear costumes. Heather was very excited and said, "I've got some perfect ideas."
Ça fait peur.
It was terrifying. Everyone was dressed like someone else. I think I was meant to be some kind of pumpkin, as everyone kept shouting, "It's the great pumpkin." Still, at least Mr. Silton was having fun telling everyone his joke. And I suppose Heather's costume was quite flattering. After what seemed like forever, everybody left, and things got back to normal. Heather was allowed to watch a scary film before she went to bed, but I had to help Alice and Mr. Deck clean up. I wasn't happy about this, but the old man said if I was quick, then I could watch the end of the film with them. Alice was vacuuming, and Mr. Deck was taking down the decorations, so I thought I should clean up the plates and glasses.
C'est un jeu en fait où je... Je vais lui casser la gueule à lui là.
The ear-splitting sound was the fire alarm. As usual, Mr. Deck blamed Mr. Silton, saying he was probably smoking one of his jazz cigarettes.
Ok.
But then the professor appeared. He said that there was something burning in the kitchen. Alice looked confused, saying that she hadn't cooked anything since the morning. We were all surprised when Mr. Deck opened the oven. Inside was a large black cloak and a slightly burnt pair of men's underwear. Suddenly the old lady burst in. She looked terrified. She kept shouting, "There's someone on the roof." When we went outside, it slowly became obvious that it was Mr. Silton. He was completely naked and playing his guitar. He shouted down, "When I finish this song, I'm going to fly."
Oh, il est défoncé.
The old lady said, "Oh my god, I know this one. There's only about 30 seconds left."
Oh merde. Oui, il faut que j'aille le sauver. Bah oui. Faut que j'aille le sauver en moins de 30 secondes quoi. Wallé, wallé, wallé. Ah merde.
By the time I had made it up to the roof, Mr. Silton was beside the edge. I tried to calm him down, but he was acting even more bizarre than usual.
merde, il est défoncé. Il va tomber. Il va avoir peur, il va tomber. Oh non. Regardez, il me reconnaît. Saves local idiot. Oh merde.
After an hour or so, Mr. Silton was fine. He said he had eaten some bad magic mushrooms. Part of me wondered why he hadn't doubled in size.
Ah merde, il joue trop à Mario. Hein.
And joking with the paramedics. One of them said he looked like the world's worst clown. I don't think Mr. Silton liked that. So he told his own joke. But that just made the other paramedic call him Marshmallow Marceau. I don't think he liked that either. But at least he was still in one piece.
Ah, c'est con, on l'a pas vu mourir. J'ai été trop bon.
A month or so later, Heather and I were playing video games, when the old man said he wanted me to come outside. He said it had been a year since I had arrived, so he had a present for me. He
Un
placed
ourson?
the teddy bear high up on a wooden platform. He then told me I should try to pick it up.
Encore?
Try as I might, I couldn't reach the teddy bear. However, I still don't understand what happened next.
Oh le vieux! Oh le vieux va canner! Ouais, tout le monde s'en va ou quoi là? Bah, c'est la fin du jeu du coup. Il est tout bugué, Horace. Putain, mais ça commence dur le jeu là. Ah mais c'est un jeu de plateforme, je comprends même pas l'histoire quoi. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Donc là oui, c'est pour illustrer que le temps défile. Genre beaucoup. Ah mais ça je reconnais. C'est la musique de The End Disney. The End Disney, je sais. Oh là là. Putain, il a mangé des champignons qui font rire aussi, lui. Hein. C'est un jeu d'arrêt d'essai. Il est un peu... non mais regardez ça, c'est rêve quoi. Oui, oui, enfin c'est... Il est un peu chelou, hein, Horace, hein, c'est... Merde. Faut pas que j'appuie à gauche. Ah, si j'appuie à droite, ça marche. Si j'appuie à gauche, ça déconne. Oh, regardez, il retrace les jeux vidéo. C'est Enionax. Coucou Morgina. Vive l'Exta, ouais. Hein. Et là, paf, il se réveille.
Was I dead? Was this heaven? It sort of looked like the basement bathroom.
Est-ce que c'était le paradis? Ça ressemblait plutôt à la salle de bain. Écoute, ça va. Ça va, c'est cool de jouer à Horace.
It was the shoes the old man was going to give me. I thought I might as well put them on. They were just the right size. The old man's hat fit me pretty good as well. I'm sure he wouldn't mind if I wore it. Amazingly, the shoes allowed me to defy gravity. Or maybe it was the hat.
Ah, regardez, il y a la... Il y a la cravate. Il y a la cravate qui suit quand même la gravité, quoi. Le gerbotron, il est possible, hein. Il est possible que ce soit bientôt le... La gerbe. Blah, blah. Allez hop, on y va. Oh merde.
The basement was flooded, and the stairs had collapsed. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew I wanted to get back upstairs.
Oh, je peux pas. Je pouvais pas y passer par là.
The gate was locked. I would need a key to open it. I had to be careful. The electricity was going haywire in some places.
Ah là là, ils ont encore pas installé de disjoncteur quoi. Encore un jeu où il n'y a pas de disjoncteur quoi. Ah ok, non, j'ai compris. Non ah, j'ai compris ou pas d'ailleurs. What? Attendez, je peux pas là. Je peux là? Ah non. J'ai beau connaître un peu le jeu, l'histoire est toujours compliquée. Ça me fait trop gerber. Le fait de bouger dans tous les sens. Attends, ça y est, j'ai compris. Ok, c'est bon. I've got it. Les trucs là? Les trucs à faire, non? Sur la boîte et hop. Y'a pas une option pour garder la cam fixe? Je crois pas, hein. Le but justement, je pense que c'est... le but inavoué du jeu, c'est de te faire perdre tes repères, quoi. Ah non, ok. Et on court. Naruto Run, hein.
I've been asleep? Months? Years? I was so confused. Where had everybody gone?
Pourquoi il y a des runes? Pourquoi il y a des runes? Oh là là! La maison, elle est un peu cassée, je crois.
I was slightly scared. This was the first time I had been outside on my own.
Galette, c'est Galette. J'ai dit part of me, il y avait pareil. Tiens, son chapeau, c'est chou. Ah, j'avais même pas testé. J'avais même pas fait gaffe. Combien? 424 objets. Bam, 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 bam. Quand il court, il tient son chapeau. Ah, je vais regarder.
I knew what I had to do. This had to be my purpose.
Ah ouais.
I would
Hello.
dream a million things, so I could become a real boy. Whatever that meant.
Ah mais y a ta y a ta pote, elle a lu Pinocchio, tu devrais savoir ce que ça veut dire du coup. Ou alors c'est que t'as pas écouté. Ah, c'est bien un mec. Hein. C'est bien un mec, hein. Il y a une meuf qui lui parle, il écoute pas. Hein. Ça a beau être un robot, il a été créé avec les mêmes défauts que les mecs. Hein. Moi j'entends un mec gueuler, j'y vais pas. Hein. Ah ouais, je peux y aller comme ça. Oh là là. Oh le jeu. Alors ça va être... Tu as remarqué que quand il était à l'envers, il poussait... Attends. Ah oui. Exact. Il s'occupe de sa petite cravate aussi quand il est à l'envers. Oui. Ah oui, ça je peux y aller, oui, du coup. Bien. Ok, non.
I was surprised to see an old man, but not as surprised as he was. It turned out he was blind. He was kneeling on the floor with his hand in a drain. When I asked him what he was doing, he said his cat had crawled into the pipes, and he was trying to get her out. He was very happy when I offered to help. He said there was no way we could reach her from here, so if I was willing, I could make my way through the sewers and get her from the other end. He said he would turn off the water for as long as possible, but I would have to run, as the pipes would soon fill up again. I happily agreed. So he gave me a key. He said this will open all the sewer gates. Go through here, then down the ladder, and through the big door at the bottom.
Gary Gamel. Gargamel, quoi. Bon là il y a de la flotte, on sait que j'aime pas la flotte. Ah merde, ça je l'ai pas vu venir ça. Merde. Non mais arrête. Chope ça. Oh, une Super NES. Ah non, ça c'est des méchants, d'accord, ok. Oh là là. Non. Oh, l'enfer du truc. National Brownies Association. Donc la NBA.
It was locked. I would need a key to open it. The gate was locked. I would need
Combien? Je suis pas encore à 1 million.
a
Hein.
key to open it.
Je suis pas encore à 1 million. Hein. Oh non, genre ça me touche. Ouing, ouing. J'aime bien le petit bruit qu'il fait. Le petit bruit de genou qui craque là. Oh là, oh là, oh là là. Oh là, oh là, oh là là. Ah oui d'accord, il y a rien, d'accord, c'est le... Ok. Alors les égouts.
I better run.
Non! Il y a des trucs en haut? Faudrait que je fasse le tour, ok. Ah non, ok. Non mais non mais quel con! Ok. Bon, je vais en haut. Et pourquoi ça a pas chopé ça? Allez vas-y, j'ai envie que Gargamel il soit content de moi là. Eh oui, j'ai pas eu le vélo là à la fin. Ah merde. Je me suis fait eu. Attendez, mais je peux l'avoir le vélo ou pas là? Ça le fait grandir, hein. Elle largeur vélo. Voilà. Et je l'ai eu comme ça. Oh,
I found the old man's cat. She was fine, if a little confused.
quoi?
I was horrified. It looked like me, but it shambled around like something from the film we watched on Halloween.
Est-ce que je peux courir quand j'ai un chat dans les bras? A priori, oui. Wesh mec, il va ton
The
chat?
man was happy to have his cat back. He looked so content with her sat on his lap. I told him about the thing I saw, but he just laughed and said, "Those bastard robots, they're always getting up through the pipes. Don't worry though, it'll never get through the big doors. If I had my way, we'd have blown up the lot of them when we had the chance." I wasn't sure what he meant, but I decided now wouldn't be the best time to tell him I was a robot. The man
Bien
laughed
vu.
and said, "Don't worry, I know who you are," and told me that he knew the old man.
Ah, du lore.
As we chatted, the man brewed himself some tea. He said that he had worked for the old man. In fact, he had lost his sight in one of the old man's factories. Strangely, he smiled at this thought. "He always did me right," he said. "When I had my accident, the old man said he would look after me. And he did. He always made sure I had enough money, and he let me move into this old pumping station on his land. Which reminds me, I have something here for you." He rummaged around behind a cupboard. Then he continued saying, "The old man wanted you to have this when you were old enough, but fate wouldn't allow it. He passed me a large box. It was empty. I thought about pretending to be excited, but the man said, 'Wait a minute, it's empty, isn't it?'" He slumped back in his chair. "I was robbed a few months ago," he said, almost in a whisper. "It's strange.
Atlas.
They took practically anything metal, but left loads of food and a brand new saxophone." The man looked sad, so I thought I would try to change the subject. I told him about my quest to clean a million things. This at least made him smile. He said I was welcome to go back through the pipes anytime I wanted, as there were loads of old things in there that could be cleaned away.
Ok. C'est le logo de Atlus, par contre. Je sais pas, c'est quoi Atlus? Comment je fais pour aller en haut? I want to go en haut. Je peux pas encore. Ah, j'ai pas fait un gros saut. Oh, non mais... Non mais ça passe là. Arrête, ça arrête le jeu. Ah oui, d'accord. C'est exactement ce que je voulais faire. Hein. Oh là là, oh là là, oh là là, oh là là, j'ai déconné là. Ok. Donc il y a la vilain là. Clusco, c'est une société japonaise de développement, d'édition et de distribution de jeux vidéo fondée en 1986 à Tokyo. Les jeux Persona entre autres. Ah, les jeux auxquels j'ai jamais joué. Quoi? Ok, donc il y a des trucs que j'ai pas encore récupérés. Le jeu rame un peu par contre. J'ai pas la config qu'il faut, j'ai l'impression. Les gens ont pas l'air de s'amuser, hein. Ah non, mais ça je pouvais y aller direct, ok. Shin Megami Tensei, tout ça. Hein. Ouais, comme d'hab. Hein. Comme d'hab, les jeux que je connais pas, quoi. Allez, bon courage. Ah merde, ma cam. Ah, vous aviez plus ma cam. Est-ce que je peux crawl? Non, je peux pas crawl. Je reviens après, je crois. Ça. C'est quoi? Ok. Ah, le glandu, glandu. Et la poubelle là? Et là je peux y aller? C'était évidemment du take damage to save time. Hein. Waouh, ça passe là ou pas? Pas du tout. Faudra que je revienne avec d'autres compétences. Elle est bleue, pas jaune, ça veut... Je parlais de quoi? Je parlais de quoi? Ogive, regardez une petite ogive. Ah, la poubelle. Ah, c'est sûrement les gens qui sont dans la maison. Crie help, j'imagine. Non? Vous en pensez quoi? C'est sûrement les gens dans la maison, non? Ah, voilà. Ça semblait bien. Hein. Ok, là y a rien.
The people screaming turned out to be a man, a woman, and their children. They were confused and terrified. At first the man looked like he was ready to fight me, but after I convinced them that I was there to help, he calmed down. There was no way I could carry them all at once, so the children went first. I dropped the children off at the front door and promised them that I would be back with their parents.
Tu fais une promesse que tu pourras pas tenir là. Ah. Merde.
The fire was getting much worse, so the woman went next.
Bah le vieux il va canax, hein, désolé. Non. Je m'ai cramé le cul. Mais non mais... Putain, c'est chiant. Il est bien le jeu mais il est chiant. Je veux juste faire ça en fait. D'accord.
When we got to the front door, all the woman said was, "Thank you. Please hurry."
La femme dit joue mieux. Tu penses? Ah!
By the time I managed to get back, the man was unconscious. I had to pick him up quickly, as I could tell the house was going to collapse at any moment.
Je me traîne là. Je traîne avec le vieux sur le dos là. Game mauvais? Non, regardez, je vais le sortir là des décombres. Yes! Merci Horace. Le e-robot.
I helped the family set up a tent so they had somewhere to stay. The kids were excited as they got to camp outside, but I think they knew they had just lost their home. When I mentioned my quest to clean a million things, the man said I should look through the rubble of the house, as they had no use for it. So, when everyone was making dinner, I looked through the wreckage. There wasn't anything I could clean, but to my astonishment, I found a TV set and a games console. With a bit of fiddling I was able to get them to work. So I sat playing games with the kids until their parents said it was bedtime. As we talked, the man opened a bottle of wine. I asked what had happened, why was everything so ruined? The man looked at the woman, then the woman sighed and said, "There was a war." "Yes, a war," said the man. One side of the planet attacked the other, and before we knew, it was all over. Everything gone. Everything destroyed. "Well, it's late," said the woman. "We should really get some sleep. Help yourself to anything you need, and we'll see you tomorrow." In the morning, I asked the man if he knew what had caused the fire that had destroyed their house. The man smiled. "Crap old house, bad wiring, constant electrical surges from
Il y a le gamin derrière qui joue avec des briquets.
He said, if we had the money, we'd move to the mainland. But we can barely feed ourselves, let alone buy a new house, so for now we're left here with the rest of the scum. but he did say I should head to the mainland, as there would be plenty there for me to clean, and a better quality of rubbish. The man said, before the war, my lovely wife used to be a fisherman. Fisherwoman? Fishing person? I used to catch fish, interrupted the woman, and, seeing as you saved us all from the fiery end, maybe you would like to borrow my boat to get to the mainland. I was a little scared, but then they gave me some captain software and I was an old salty sea dog within minutes.
J'étais un vieux loup de mer. Ça se dit encore ça? Ok, donc je les ai sauvés. Il me reste encore des objets à récupérer. Hein. Ah bah oui, mais il y a le... Ah, il y a encore la flotte là. Hein. J'y suis allé, hein. Oui, j'y suis allé. Ouais, non, j'avais rien à récupérer ici. Moins 80. J'ai un compte d'objets négatif. Putain, le jeu qui rame là. Bon bah vas-y, je vais aller... Je vais aller prendre le... Je vais prendre la... Non! Oh merde, cette arnaque! Cette grosse arnaque là! Cette grosse arnaque de... de changement là. Ah, c'est tous les trucs qu'on peut... En bas, c'est tous les trucs qu'on peut avoir. On peut avoir combien d'objets? Ah oui, non, il a fait... Comme si j'avais pris la mer dans ma gueule.
I took the fisherman's boat to the mainland. The fisherman was right. Everything was in pieces. Everything had been destroyed. I docked the boat in some ruins. They must have once been a town.
Ah ouais, effectivement, c'est pas... C'est pas en bon état. Comment je pouvais savoir que ça allait se péter la gueule, ça? Il y a plein de merdiers là. Je suis sûr que ça va me donner le pouvoir d'aller dans l'eau. C'est sûr. Quoi? Genre il y a des murs sur lesquels je peux pas aller. Ok. Ouais, faut une bonne vision en 3D quand même hein,
I
pour...
was confronted by
Oh!
a lovable fat old dog. He almost looked pleased to see me. Suddenly, 3 men appeared holding large guns. Or at least 2 men and what looked to be a pregnant woman. Incredibly, it was Mr. Silton. I thought you'd been shut down, he said. I mean, it's been years. I'm not really sure what happened, I replied. I then told him about me cleaning a million things. He laughed and said, nothing changes. He then showed me into what was surprisingly a really nice house. Please excuse my husband, said the pregnant lady. I'm Edwina, but everyone calls me Eddie. I believe you know this idiot. And that's Preston. We've met, said the small man. It was me that delivered that thing, remember? All you used to deliver was weed, mumbled Mr. Silton as he put the dog dish on the floor. And I was there that night, when this twat was off his face on mushrooms. Thanks for letting me and the dog stay, by the way. Yeah, well, we like the dog, said Mrs. Silton. And I suppose I've got you to thank for us meeting. What with you giving Barry those dodgy magic mushrooms? She pulled out an old photograph. It was one that Heather had taken the night I had saved Mr. Silton. It reminded me of everyone else, so I asked what had happened to them.
Encore du lore, hein. Merde, je jouais à de la plateforme, moi.
The small place in the countryside. The professor had holed up in one of the old man's factories. Mr. Deck was, believe it or not, now a presenter on the only state television channel. And Heather and her mother lived on a government compound where they both worked. I asked about the old man, surprised that Mr. Silton hadn't mentioned him. He's dead, said Mr. Silton. Sorry, I thought you knew. Anyway, said Mr. Preston, I thought you said that robot thing found the mushrooms for you, in that hoarder's manky old barn. Mr. Silton looked embarrassed. Well, said Mrs. Silton, I guess we've got you to thank for getting us together then. Time for bed, I think, said Mr. Silton. Make yourself comfy, and we'll see you in the morning.
Le vieil ado là qui a une porte avec marqué no, no sur la... Quoi? C'est... Je joue ou pas là? Oh, je joue! Oh, les contrôles sont inversés. Oh, do a barrel roll. Oh, les contrôles sont inversés, c'est dégueulasse. Fais-lui un câlin. Ah, trop bien quoi. Il y a le même moteur que dans les, les jeux de Super NES. La maison, c'est là où le cœur est.
The next day, I thought it might be a good time to ask about the war. Judging by the look on everyone's faces, it wasn't. Well, the war, said Mr. Silton. Barry interrupted his wife. Can I see you for a minute? And dragged Mr. Silton out of the room, leaving me with Mr. Preston.
Le foyer plutôt que la maison. Oh là
All
là.
of a sudden, Mr. Silton
Vous avez
appeared.
compris quoi.
How about a tune-up, he said. Mrs. Silton started to make some food, and Mr. Preston was playing with the dog. leaving me to chat with Mr. Silton. I said that I really wanted to see everyone else, but Mr. Silton said that it wouldn't be that easy. Traveling now, especially for a robot, is complicated. Go back to the house, you could even do some cleaning. Wait there and I'll work out a way to get you to each of them. I told him that I couldn't get into the main house because the hallway ceiling had collapsed. I have just the thing, said Mr. Silton, as he pulled some sort of card out of his pocket. If you can get into the caves under the church next door to the house, you can use this security pass to get into the old man's laboratories. You can get into the main house that way. I was so excited, I would be able to get back into my old room. I said thanks, and made my way to the front door. Also, I think you might be able to help us out.
Des quêtes secondaires.
But we will meet up back at the old man's house in a couple of days. You head there and we'll see you soon.
J'ai cru qu'il allait y avoir des quêtes secondaires, quoi. Ok, so... Non. Putain, mais... Quel gros naze. Ah, je saute pas assez haut, c'est ça? Attendez. Ah, mais regardez. Moi malin. Moi malin. Non mais t'as vu le jeu là? Non mais... T'es pris pour qui le jeu là?
I wasn't sure what to do with this machine. The huge door was sealed shut. I wasn't sure how to get inside.
Ouais, ok. Bon, j'ai été trop bon. J'ai été trop bon, trop rapide. Non mais de ce que j'ai compris, de toute façon... faut obtenir d'autres compétences et revenir, tout ça quoi. Putain, il y a du backtracking dans un jeu de plateforme quoi.
I took the fisherman's boat to the old man's estate.
Metroidvania alors. Bah ouais, mais il y a pas trop d'action en fait. Dans un enfin, je vois le genre des Metroidvania moi comme il y a de l'action quand même quoi. L'église. Petite glissade quand on fait ça. Hein. Moyen d'arranquer des trucs là. Il est où l'autre là? Il est où Gargamel? Le jeu qui rame quoi. Y'a pas une option là? Non, y'a pas d'option vidéo quoi. Je l'ai fait un peu au pif, hein. Je voyais rien donc... Ah!
As I walked through the old church ruins, I was surprised to hear Mr. Silton calling me. He said he had forgotten to give me something, and the church's community hall would be the perfect place to try it out. As soon as we walked into the hall, Mr. Silton said he had a present for me. It was a pair of Atlas gloves. They made me
C'est eux qui les avaient piqués.
Man with the cat and his stolen Atlas gloves. I wonder if Mr. Silton knew how lucky he was to still have them with a glove thief around.
Oh merde.
To try the gloves on and start chucking things
Mais oui,
around.
évidemment.
But not him. He was very clear about that. Mr. Silton suggested we clean the hall. Of course I knew when he said we, he meant me. But I was happy to try out my new gloves. He said I should clear everything off of the basketball court and put the things on the floor either side. I fiddled with the settings for a bit, but when Mr. Silton saw I was having trouble, he produced a small manual. He explained that pressing down and X would pick a thing up. X would then throw the thing, and if I wanted to place it on the floor, I should again press down and X. He looked more and more confused as he read all this, but eventually he finished by saying, "Well, I hope that made more sense to you than it did to me."
Évidemment, évidemment. Wesh. Une casquette lui maintenant. Attendez. Attendez, c'est il faut que je marque un panier, non? Je veux marquer. Il y a une crèche Chuck Norris. Voilà, c'est exactement ce que je cherchais, c'est Chuck Norris, on est d'accord. Hein. Mais qu'est-ce que je dois faire là? J'ai pas compris. Faut que je remette les trucs à leur place? Non. Pourquoi je peux pas choper ça? J'en fais quoi des objets une fois que... Je nettoie le terrain de basket, c'est ça? Tiens, le baby Jesus. Tiens, Chuck Norris. Tiens. Marie.
Mr. Silton sounded slightly annoyed when he said, "Come on, take all the stuff off the basket."
Ah ouais, c'est ça en fait, ouais.
And chuck it either side.
Je prenne les trucs et que je les... Je les vire du terrain, quoi. Alors plus c'est gros, et plus je mets de temps à les porter. Allez, c'est bon.
Let's see what else these gloves can do, said Mr. Silton as he flicked through the manual. He actually looked quite excited when he explained that holding X while walking into or under a falling thing would allow me to catch it. I must admit, I was then really happy when he suggested we make it a game, and I try to catch 10 basketballs.
Ouais, d'accord. Merde, mais non! Oui! Merde. Loupé.
Next, Mr. Silton suggested we make it a real game and see how quickly I could score 10 baskets. I enjoyed this so much. It felt just like the good old days. Except Mr. Silton wasn't as forgiving as the old man.
Ah merde. Putain, il est bon au basket, hein.
When I'd scored 10 baskets, Mr. Silton gave me what he called a high five. He said I now knew everything about the gloves and I should be able to continue through the basement of the church into the house. When I asked him if he was coming with me, he just laughed and said they would catch up with me in the main hall.
Ils veulent rien faire quoi. Bravo. Oh, trop fort. Il est trop fort. Ok. Il y a quoi de l'autre côté? De l'autre côté, bah, il y a quelque chose, mais je sais pas quoi. Pile dessus, hein. Ah, j'y ai cru, hein. Non mais arrête le jeu. Arrête ça. Ah là 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 là. Bon, de toute façon, il y a des trucs sous l'eau que je peux pas récupérer. What? What? Ah, attendez, j'ai peut-être compris. Non, en fait, non. Ça passe là ou pas? Mais non, il y a une autre... D'accord, j'avais pas vu. J'avais pas vu qu'il y avait une grille dans le milieu.
I
C'est
was
passé.
stood in a gigantic cabin. When I looked down, I was horrified to see hundreds of corpses of those things. As horrible as it sounds,
Chais!
my stepdad Chip said they were things to clean. So clean them I would.
Ah, merde. J'ai pas vu qu'il y avait de l'eau dans le fond. Nani nanou, nani nanou. 30 000 objets récupérés. C'est trop bien. Ah, c'est pas par là.
That must be the door Mr. Silton talked about.
Ok, donc là...
The door was exactly as Mr. Silton had described it. I just hoped that the card he had given me was the security key and not just some backstage pass. Well, it opened the door, but soon an alarm went off. Something caught my eye. It was a small yellow sphere. The book next to it explained that it was a shield that would automatically take a hit for me when activated. The Y button took the shield in and out of storage, meaning I could save it for when the going got tough. It seemed that I started with 2 slots to carry shields, but I could upgrade to be able to carry more. If both I and the shield died in the same room, the Lazarus chip would bring us both back. It's almost as if the shield needed its sacrifice to mean something. It felt like a true friend, proving that even the simplest of faces can bring out an emotional reaction.
Oui, je peux faire ça, je suis con, moi. J'ai essayé de... J'ai essayé tout est direct, mais j'ai pas besoin. Ah! Ok. Coucou Dova! Pourquoi j'ai rien entendu? Coucou Dova, et merci beaucoup Julien pour ton resub. 3e mois?
Combien?
3 mois? J'espère que vous allez bien. Vous avez eu l'alerte? Ah mais c'est chiant, c'est encore 20 doses là qui déconne. Vous arrivez au meilleur moment, hein. C'est le moment où il y a l'alerte. J'espère que vous aimez bien ce petit bruit. Comment ça va sinon les gens? Tu joues à quoi Dova? Donc on est sur Horace. Un jeu de plateforme et un jeu de plateforme avec plein de lore. Et il y a beaucoup de vidéos. Il y a beaucoup de cinématiques. Ouais, de vidéos. Il y a beaucoup de cinématiques. Et notre but c'est de ramasser 1 million d'objets. Et on en est à 38 813. J'adore ce son d'alerte, c'est très RP, bravo. Laquelle alerte du coup? Il y en a plein. Pas en plein milieu du jeu. J'avais un décalage. Quoi? Hein? Quoi? Hein? C'est plein de mini-mois, oui. Pas des mini-moys. Hein. Les mini-moys c'est autre chose. Bien, on a fait DS3, je me suis perdu. Rage quit sur Outlast, mais je suis perdu. On a discuté. Ah! D'accord. La journée de la perte quoi. Et donc oui, on a des chaussures spéciales qui font que on peut contrer la gravité. Et donc en fait, il y a la plupart des énigmes pour l'instant qu'on a rencontrées, c'était ça en fait. Faut arriver à se mettre dans un bon angle pour pouvoir sauter plus loin ou sauter ailleurs. Enfin bon, c'est... Ah. Ok. Je vais où? Oui, typiquement là. Ah oui, ok, d'accord, c'est bon, je crois que j'ai compris. Voilà. Il faut que je fasse ça, into ça, voilà. Voilà là là là. Donc là ça va disparaître, ok. Nice. Désolé, hein, je me concentre un peu. Non, 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 pas ça. Oh là là. J'ai eu peur, j'ai eu peur. C'était pas la journée GPS. Hein. Je vais me sustenter parce que j'ai méga faim. Ah bon? Ah ouais, 16h, t'as pas encore mangé? Ah bah, bah... De toute façon, moi, je vais pas tarder à faire une petite pause. Et aller me chercher un petit bout de brownie, là. Alors, sympa, ce jeu indé. Par contre, l'alarme donne envie de percer les tympans avec une perceuse Black et Decker. Blacky? Tu veux te percer... Ah, mais c'est... Non, sinon, le jeu est vraiment cool, hein. Ah, regardez.
I remembered the old man had installed some software that helped show me things that were interactive, and how to interact with them. This must be what he was talking about. The electron gun blew the power. I needed to turn it back on, before I could fire again.
Ok, donc là on va chercher les objets ici. Des disquettes, c'est trop bien. Et on peut faire des combos. Et le jeu nous dit qu'on a ramassé tous les objets dans une zone. Oh, il y a des boss! Non! Putain, il y a des boss, c'est trop bien! Comment je l'ai défoncé! Putain, il a rien vu, hein.
This seemed quite valuable. Wow, this was clearly worth something.
Il a rien vu le boss, quoi. Moi, ça s'est fait. Ah ouais, non, mais j'ai tout de suite compris comment j'allais le défoncer. Hein.
The video recorder's blinking light caught my eye. It must have been years since I had seen a film or TV show. Maybe I could take a little break from my quest.
Oh putain, la grosse feignasse! Incroyable!
As the video started, I was surprised to see the old man. Hello, hello, he bellowed in his familiar tone. This is test number, 107C. He continued as he read from a clipboard. This unit still has 3 major issues. 1. The shell is so incredibly thick that the whole machine is still far too large and heavy. 2. The missile system is too unpredictable and aggressive. And 3. The trade-off between power and intelligence is far too great. I think the capabilities would be far too dangerous in the wrong hands. I think we would be best to push forward with the Innocence Project. I didn't really understand a word of what he said.
Je commence à comprendre moi ce qu'il a dit. Hein.
Disappointed that he had recorded over the film, but it was nice to see the old man's face again.
De la musique de certains logiciels obtenus plus ou moins légalement. C'est normal, je mange des céréales fruit à 11h. Pas avoir faim. Ah, je sais pas. Je sais pas. Je sais pas, moi j'ai mangé ce matin, j'ai mangé ce midi. Et j'ai faim encore.
I wasn't sure what was going on, but suddenly inanimate objects started to come to life.
Quoi? Ça me tabasse ces conneries en plus. J'ai niqué mon deuxième shield, deuxième shield, deuxième shield. J'ai plus de shield. Si tu passes par Niort, je te perds un kebab. Est-ce que je peux lui balancer des merdiers là? Tiens! Boum! Attendez, mais est-ce que ça me donne des trucs là? Ah non. bien. Oh, j'ai cru que j'allais me faire avoir. Hein. Est-ce que je peux glisser dessous? Je pense pas. Bling bling. Ok, donc faut que j'aille. J'aille par là. Là je reconnais, c'est encore une musique de The End Disney, hein. Est-ce que c'est possible? En timant bien, je pense que c'est ok quoi, mais... Peut-être pas. Hein. Eh tiens, pouf. C'est gentil ou c'est méchant ça? Dommage. Et les trucs là. Je peux pas les péter ça? Non, il l'a jeté. Oh putain, il l'a jeté. Ah d'accord. Ok. J'ai mis du temps à comprendre, mais j'ai compris. Oh! Putain, j'y étais pas du tout. Non! Non! Ah, le con! Arrête! Merde. Merde, ça passait pas. Shit! Viens là, toi! Voilà, il y a des trucs dedans. Ah! Quel sac. Faut vraiment prévoir ce qui va se passer, quoi.
I should try picking that up.
Ah! Connard. What? What? Qu'est-ce que ça a fait? Ça fait des trucs, je comprends rien. On va descendre normalement. Ok. C'est chelou quand même. Hein. Évidemment. C'est pile au mauvais moment. Non! J'avais pas le temps, je le savais, je le savais que j'avais pas le temps. Nick! Arrête de faire le con! Claquez le follow et donnez votre moula. Merci Fiaril. Ah là là, plein de moula, oui, s'il vous plaît. What? Genre, y avait rien? Genre, c'est quoi que c'est qui m'a touché? Vas-y, je... Là, il y a des trucs chelous dans le jeu quand même. Hein. T'as vraiment donné des beats là ou pas? Attends, c'est des beats? C'est des vrais beats ou pas ça? Merci pour les... Mais oui, c'est des vrais beats. Mais merci Fiaril. Merci. Ah, mais tout à l'heure j'ai réussi du premier coup. Non, c'est pas ça. C'est ça que je veux faire. Merci beaucoup Fiaril. Je vais pouvoir manger grâce à toi. Et bah... Ah, le mec a galéré quoi. Mais j'ai le droit de sauter combien de fois dessus là? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Y'a pas de limite quoi. Remercie. Tiens, maintenant mange. Remercie Fiaril. Ouais, mais 9 objets ici. J'ai pas l'impression qu'on puisse les casser, hein. Ah, c'est pour débloquer les portes, ça, d'accord, ok, je viens de comprendre. Mais je pars vraiment au pire en moment, hein. Est-ce que j'irais bien faire pareil? J'irais bien refaire pareil de l'autre côté de la map. Voilà. Oh, quel glandu! Il y avait rien de plus simple. Et genre j'ai pas fait 10 objets. Pourquoi l'escalier est pas fini? Non. Il m'a jeté dessus. Il n'est pas gentil. What? Je fais quoi après moi? Ah oui, oui. Donc dans les gros conteneurs à poubelle, il y a des petites poubelles. Et des petits conteneurs à poubelle. Ah merde. Mais là, il n'y a plus rien. Là. Je vais pouvoir le... Non. La réponse est... Mais comme... Ah putain mais... Ah c'est l'enfer. Et parce que la liane elle est comme ça mais... Enfin la liane. Oh merde. Ah putain, parce qu'il faut appuyer sur O, mais enfin c'est pas... Oh. Il y a des pièces de robot qui te ressemblent. Non, il me ressemble pas. Merde. Je trouve qu'il me ressemble, toi. Je trouve que les pièces de robot me ressemblent. Si j'appuie sur bas, ça marche aussi? Oh, mais nique. Mais c'est l'enfer. C'est pas... Oh, c'est chiant. C'est chiant, hein. Ah, tu veux dire qu'il me ressemble à moi? Dire à moi le streamer, c'est ça? Je vois. Non mais oh là là. Le jeu il triche. Je trouve qu'il y a des jeux issus de l'enfer. Non, ça va, regarde. 6 objets, mais quoi? Mais comment? Mais regarde Horace, il y a une petite musique mignonne. C'est pas un jeu de l'enfer, la musique elle est mignonne. Est-ce que ça fout la gerbe après? Bon, peut-être. Et le jeu, le jeu il est bien. Regarde. Ah, Keblo. J'ai voulu y aller en une seule fois, mais le jeu veut pas des fois. Bon allez, on va se faire une pause. On va se faire une pause ici. On va se faire une pause ici, là, faut que j'aille chercher mon thé, là. Bizarrement, c'est peut-être l'un des moins pires. On s'y... Ouais, ouais non, là c'est vrai que ça tourne, ça tourne un peu trop, là, ça tourne un peu trop. Des bisous YouTube, je continue le jeu tout de suite, mais vous verrez ça dans une prochaine vidéo. Des bisous.